Good evening, one and all. It is Wednesday, it's the middle of the week, and it's time we jump into some more good old Warframe. Welcome everyone, hope you're doing well where you are around the world. Let me just shove you a couple things there. There we go. Just a couple things in the wrong spot. Welcome. Now, for those of you who missed the details on Sunday we were having a look at some of the Archguns and the various power within them, having a further look at the Arbocep, comparing it to the Morzelon, and began to have a look at the Kubik Rattler. I wish to have more of a look at that one as well, in particular. And then otherwise, go into some others and really get a good broad spectrum feel across them, because there's a lot of curious details. Also, I never actually tried the Arbocep on stream then in a Archwing mission, only in ground, atmospheric mode. And in Archwing, it's got a very curious quirk to how it works. But overall, it does come together in the end there. But we'll get on to all of that lot in just a moment. From RC does as well say, I guess the old ticket system might be completely replaced with the giveaway arena. At the moment, that is the current plan. I'll be quite honest, Marasitos, when it comes to the old ticket system, I was never a huge fan of it. It was more the best option that I had. Because basically it was a very simple ticket system, a very simple, everyone can enter, everyone gets to enter for free, everyone gets to enter once, and sorted. Plague Peter, yeah, let's sort that right now. Send me a message in game so I can invite you in. The engineer, you know what to do with that, hopefully. If not, !join. But yeah, with the ticket system, it was certainly a very simple, relatively non-intrusive way of sorting it. People would ask for a ticket, they would be notified they'd got a ticket. I couldn't change that notification, and I couldn't change the notification, if someone tried to get a second ticket, and the bot would say, whoa, too many tickets. Or whatever the exact message was. It was not exactly the best message, and again, completely uneditable. And then the actual draw of it is also just a message in chat. There. Aegis say the old ticket system did have the option of entering whenever during the stream, which the new system cannot. Yes, that is the one singular downside. And I must stress singular. It is the only downside of the ticket system. Of the newer system, not using the ticket system. And I'll be quite honest, that's not a sufficient downside for me to give up all of the upsides. That isn't sufficient. So it does come at the disadvantage of those who tune in during the earlier part of the streams, who don't stick around to the end of stream. In terms of doing the draw at a different point in stream, that is something I'm still floating as an idea as to either rotating when that draw happens or just randomizing it, but I'll be quite honest, it's not one of my top priorities. But so far, the feedback I've received on the change has been quite literally people noticing the change, and that's it. With the exception of people going, yay, I get to see my avatar again, which one of the aforementioned upsides. So yeah, I hope that makes sense, Malatidos. I hope that makes sense. Alright, we're just going to quickly grab a late entry to the avatars. For the very giveaway arena we were talking about a moment ago. That appears to be some interesting use of translucent bits and pieces. I'm going to be very honest with you. All those translucent details you've added on, they are not going to stick around. Like, you will just not see them. So, you're welcome to keep them on. I don't know why we got snakes over here as well. That's just adding to my confusion on this. But yeah, any translucent or really, really, really white details without anything to support them, they will vanish. Just hope you understand on that. But yeah. Alright, so with that in mind... Sure, that's fine. Okay, cool. Grab your aim. I'll move myself out the way. Let's try and get this up for maximum detail to make it clear when I do the edit. Just make sure nothing looks untoward or otherwise problematic. Snake's going absolutely wild all of a sudden, but that is fine. Let's try and get those globules not clipping the skirt. That should be clear enough. Yeah, that signature at the top there, that's basically gone. Alright. There we go. And did you want that one to be a personal one or a public one? Which would you prefer? They're upside down. Personal or public? Public? Okie dokie. Let me get this added into my listing so I know exactly where we go with that. And on Twitch, your exact username is Plague Peter. Let's mark that as to be sorted. I make sure I'm just putting all the right ticks and checks everywhere so I do not miss a single detail. Cool, there we are, that's fully saved. So I can implement that into the program in due time. You know, idea you have the two ephemeras at the same time? It's simple. This one isn't actually here. It looks like it's here, but it's not here. However, the game doesn't realize that, and so you have it. It's... yeah, welcome to Warframe. Welcome to Warframe. Alright then. That's all sorted out upside down. Splendid. Let's continue on with the Archguns. Akaboy is apparently having a bunch of fun with the spawn mechanics in Terraria. Well, you certainly go ahead and break those to your heart's content. I shall continue the break. Archguns. Okay, no companion. So I did the testing with the Arbicep, that's all done with. Morzalon, I'm satisfied with as well. There was the Gratler, which needed further refinement. Excuse me. Now with this here, this has got all of the modding equipped, hasn't it? Yeah. Was that leveled up? Nope, it's unranked at the moment. So it's got all the mods equipped on here that I am at least broadly satisfied with. We're looking at a Frostbite Innovate approach, because that did seem to be the most effective. I just wanted to be very certain it is working as intended. Now there was something someone had raised on the short, going, hang about, my one works differently. So let's go find out if it does indeed work differently, or if they were just mistaken. Because it's very possible either which way. Thought we tested everything, but easy enough to verify. So let's pop ourselves into Ballroom Simulacrum. It's a nice easy one to test within. Let's also very quickly check a detail. So what is the AoE on this? It is a 9 meter AoE. Cool. It's a 9 meter AoE. So let's grab Elite Lancers, 5 of them paused. Reason for 5 is they all spawn across the back row there. And this one, all the way down to this one, is 16 meters with 12, 8, 4, and obviously 0 meters from himself. Hopefully, this should give me the kind of information I'm looking for. Damn, I need them a row forward. I need them a row forwards. Okay. Yeah, so let's get here. Yeah, that went all the way through there. And I didn't see that guy take any direct damage. That again. No, I'm seeing gas, but I'm not seeing an explosion. Whereas if I aim a little bit down now, I see the explosion hitting these guys over here. So yeah, what someone claimed is that the full body puncher I seen was actually just relation to the arming distance, and that when they utilize it, they hit an enemy and explodes on them in front. This confirms that it's absolutely incorrect. That person don't know what they think they're seeing, but they're not actually seeing that. They might have been testing with an enemy just kind of around the area and going, oh look, yeah, that explosion definitely hit them. See, I could see the explosion. Yeah, because it hit the wall. I don't know. I don't know what they thought they saw, but it wasn't that. Dark Wolf Seal, thank you very much for dropping your Prime over here. Much appreciated on that. Hope you have yourself a decent day there. Cheers. You're getting close to 2 years. That's you are. The very next one will be 2 years. Hello there, Alsu. Speaking of 2 years as well, I have added on additional sub-badges. So if I just put my own smiley face in chat here, you see I now pop up with a appropriate 5-year badge, whereas previously the badges were going up to, I think, a max of 3 years. So the badges have expanded. 3 years is the silver pot, 4 years is now a gold pot, 5 years brings out the emerald pot, 6 years brings out the ruby pot, and 7 years goes all the way up to an onyx pot. And once we get to the point of people having, once it gets people closing in on an 8 years, then I can cross that road again. But for now, 7 years of pottery will do. 7 years of pottery I think will do just fine on that. So yeah. Burn that bridge when we get to it. I mean, I don't see why we need to burn it. It's more a case of can just do things. Who knows? Maybe by this time, 3 years from now, when people, and it would be just a few people, but people start approaching that 8-year potential sub badge, maybe we'll have entirely different sub badges at that point. Who is to say, really? But for now, it'll do quite nicely. You've got those extra badges to look forward to, alongside just all the rest of the bits and pieces you get just for being part of this channel and supporting it as you do. So yeah, that is just a little tidbit on that side. Maybe coffee cups or coffee presses? No, Alsu, no, how dare. Look, just because the other line might not be treating you the way you wanted to, doesn't mean you can bring that cursed experience over here. Be good now. Alright, so we popped down a few more of these. It's currently set up with a gas approach, I think. I'm not sure exactly why it's set to gas. At least it was doing that gas, yeah. I think I was testing a DOT approach on it. We don't need to do that. So let's see, we've got... Yeah. So we got that. What we can do is just swap that around. This gives us a heat viral approach, and viral, just for the sheer damage enhancement of everything one is doing, should be broadly very effective. There we go. So I just kind of pop myself into position and kind of just... I mean, to me, that looks very damn effective. That looks very, very damn effective. Which leads me then to the question of, okay, well, just how is it reaching this level of effectiveness? What have I actually done here numerically to make it, quite frankly, so much better than the Morzelon? Let alone the Arbicep, which is significantly less effective. Hello, Hatari. Now, I've been running some of the numbers before, but let me have a look here. I'm currently using a Frost Innovative Roach, which was the same as what I was using on the Arbicep. So I think it might actually be near enough the same build. Which is fine with me. Okay, Grappler. Might as well bring this up onto screen for y'all to see. It's numbers Armageddon, but you know, it's numbers. A lot of you are here for the numbers, so I understand. Yeah, Cuba Grappler, using again Frostbite plus Innovate. Damage-wise, what we have is... Oh, these numbers are going to fit on nicely. Yeah, there we go. This lower term still is just complete meaningless crap, so we can ignore that. What we have got is a 356... Nope. Already wrong. 3656.8 plus a 2922.9. So that is the two damage values that we see automatically there. We should have the same damage multiplier. We should have the same multi-shot multiplier. So let's bring all of that in. Arbicep has a fire rate of 2.4, but we've got a fire rate on this of 8.8. From Relay, Aya's Valence bonus cold on Grappler to try Frostbite on it without having to do much mod slot, reserve for cold status. So, with regards to the Frostbite, it is probably better charged up from a companion rather than putting the cold onto the Grappler itself. But if you wish to go for a cold Valence, go right ahead. The problem with a cold Valence, and just otherwise cold in general, coming in from the Archgun, is that you then miss out on heat, toxin, or electric, 3 very solid, direct damage toxin procs. Or just damaging toxin procs, not direct damage. So, as much as you can go for the cold off of the weapon itself, I think it will probably be a worse overall experience. Just in general there. But you can absolutely go for that. If you were going for the self-primed approach, you'd probably be better off with Primary Blight. So Primary Blight ends up with slightly less on the multi-shot, slightly more on the crit damage. Given that the multi-shot mod is stronger and the crit damage mod is weaker, that may in fact work out in your favour. But on top of that, you're now actually getting a damaging proc rather than having to go with the cold proc. Just a little bit of variation on that side is all I'd consider. But otherwise, honestly, having a heat bonus so you get even more heat out of your heat viral setup, and then getting the cold elsewhere would be even better. And that means with the demonstration I just did, that was without even having Primary Frostbite activated. That's just something that one would intend to apply. Okay, so we've got here the arsenal damage. We've got the multiplier, multiplier all the way up to here, which is recalculating what the pure damage bonus should be, the multi-shot bonus, and the actual fire rate we've got on it. The only other stat of concern then is the crit term, so that will be times 1 plus... Now, we're using Innovate on this again, so we can estimate a continuous 150% average. The crit damage multiplier that one can hope for on this weapon. Let's see, the base amount, we're not using any other buffs, nope. So the base amount is only a 2 times, and we get a total from this setup 200% bonus. I'm sorry to hear that, Ray. I hope your throat recovers nice and smoothly for you. We've got a 2 times base, 3 times overall bonus, minus the 1 from just how the calculation works, double parenthesis to close it. And I'm going to actually compact this a little bit just to... it's going to run off this end anyway. There we are. This all comes out to... Slap in the calculator. 124 2040. 124 2040. Which one might notice is lower than the Arbicep value. Lower, but that's because the Arbicep has effectively a shit ton more AoE damage, but its AoE is only a 4 meter AoE, and its ammo efficiency, its ammo economy is not that amazing. So this has 380 shots, divided by the 8.88 fire rate, so this would fire for 43 seconds before running out. I think on the Arbicep it runs out in... actually 40 seconds. Now I think about it. Did I note it down on here how long it fires for? I did not. One moment. Arbicep, 2.4 fire rate, has 540 plus 36, that's 576. And then divide by 6. Yeah, 40 seconds of firing time before it's out of ammo. Okay, so we're about on the same level there. I can't say the same. I've always wondered what the average crit of secondary innovate is, never been able to find an answer. Because there isn't really a good answer. There isn't, and that is the problem. I estimate 150% for weapons that really benefit from it, weapons which have that travel time effect and, in some cases, delayed explosions, because they can overstack it. But for weapons which can't overstack it because they're hit scan, with no secondary explosions to further ramp it up still, no other tricks behind them, they can't get anywhere near as high on average. So where it actually shakes out is a little bit hard to say. Let's see. So as soon as you hit 101% crit chance, no decimal places, 101% crit chance, you now have a chance of hitting those big critical hits, the orange crits. And with every step up thereafter, it's then 11%, 21%, 31%, 41%, and so on. If it somehow gets all the way to 200% before resetting, despite the odds stacking against you by that point, if you get all the way to 200% and then reset back down to, say, 10%, then on average, on the way up, you went from 10% to 200, your average will be 105% crit chance. But it's trying to get an idea as to where and when does that reset kick in. I think we looked at the details on it before now and said that, typically speaking, a weapon which can't cheat it is basically average locked to around about 110, 120% crit chance. Whereas ones which can cheat it will go 150, maybe even 200 if you get ideal conditions. That if is why I go for the 150. But because there are multiple different types of unreliable interaction going on, there is no one fixed number you can give it to say, yep, this actually precisely gives you the average output you're expecting. Precision isn't there with Innovate. Yeah. I am ballparking the numbers from general experience and acknowledging that that is an otherwise unreliable pick. It's a guesstimate. Now with this 1,242,040 damage DPS, this is taking into account both direct hit and AoE. The AoE portion is less than half of the total damage there. But the AoE on this has a whopping 9-meter radius, albeit with a 70% fall off. The Arbicep only has a 4-meter radius, if I recall correctly, in atmospheric mode. Yes, indeed, 4-meter range, 4-meter radius. No fall off on said radius, but also 4 meters just isn't that big. If I spawn in a bunch of dudes right here, and to add to the visibility of it, I'm going to turn off the highlighting just for a moment, and then I'm going to add radiation to every single hit as a proc. That way the irradiated enemies, the ones which are hit by the ability, will stand out. And you see, I was aiming pretty much center there. We've got one hell of a spread. These guys never got touched. But the actual rad procs there, some of them are on only 4, 8. Well, the majority of them are on 10 there. But these guys just never even got touched. And if we have a look at the amount of damage, we got this guy is plenty fine. This guy is nearly dead. Don't think we got a single kill with that approach there. And further to the weirdness, I now have a 280% final crit chance bonus. So if I were to swap this over to a blast effect, I completely wipe the room, including the ones that were alive before. Like, untouched. Because crit chance go burn. The crit chance is now 50% rather than, what was it, like, guaranteed red crit. That is the weird combination of effects that you can put it together. You can stack all the crits, you can get some crazy crit power, got Lavos to basically just whack on a whole extra bunch of damage. The blast status just kind of popping the fuck off, because that's what blast does when you actually invest into it. But it's not reliable. It's not reliable, and you could very easily burn through your ammo trying to make that happen. It's a weird spot overall. But yeah, the vast majority of the damage from Arbacep is in those AoEs. 23k base to 3k base, versus Grattler 3k to 3.5k. And as for Morzelon again is a very direct weapon, even more so than the Grattler. It's got a tiny 1.8 meter AoE on the normal attack, and is about 5-to-1 ratio, I think that is. Yeah, it's about 5-to-1 ratio of direct to AoE damage. It's basically a direct weapon. Is there a Tenet arc gun? I don't believe so, no. No. Not at this point in time. Right, so with the Grattler where it is, and with those numbers again just kind of climbing together, next one, let's have a look at the Mangonel. Now the Mangonel I think I basically stepped over as in terms of weapon. Yeah, not actually finished leveling it up, no format. Oh boy. Sorry, have I really left it to rot that hard? Why can I show profile when I can't show profile? Whatever. Let's step out of here. Alright then. Equipment. Would it count under here? No, it would not. There it is. Yep, Mangonel rank 19. Oof. I call myself a professional. Let's sort that out, shall we? So, honestly, the modding on it at this point doesn't matter, but it's more a case of how many times we're going to level this to get the value I want out of it. And, not a couple times. Do I think Archwing missions one day be decent? No. Unfortunately. Archwing missions don't really have a reason to be made good, because that would require investing time into redesigning, redeveloping those missions, which already have very few missions. They have basically no plot relevance that anyone actually gives a damn about these days. No drops of significance, because pretty much every single drop they give is for themselves. So they basically might as well not exist. The sole case they seem to come up for is for gathering the, cryptographic ALUs in order to fight the Razorback Armada, I think it is. So yeah. If it weren't for that, even fewer people would touch Archwing in any given year. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. It is, dare I say, one of the better examples of a... better as in worse. One of the better examples of a content island. It is one of the better, worse examples of content island. Because, where is this one? Galilea. Galilea. It's a sabotage mission. Even on Steel Path, it's only level 65 to 70, because they only give it plus 50. Only plus 50, because at the time, Archwing and Arc weapons were just that much worse. Now that we have the Arcanes for them, we will further outstrip those levels well harder than we already did. Excuse me. Yeah, level 65 to 70. Sure. What amazing stuff. And if I have a look at the drop table, I'm going to need to go to the PC drops. There we go. Wait for it to load. Galilea. There we go. So it drops. Glacial Edge, Conductive Blade, Tempered Blade, Meteor Crash, Nebula Bore, Astral Slash, Comet Blast, Quasar Drill, and Zodiac Shred. There are precisely 9 mods that you can get from its drop table, and every single one of them is for your arc weapons. That's it. That's all you get. You'll also get other drops whilst you're there. Those drops will either be basic resources, which you can already get anywhere else anyway, or you can get some mods for your arc gun, arc melee, and arc wing. Which again sucks. Do you put all of that time and effort into developing the maps, into developing the Arcwing missions you could go just play? Another one over here, Pursuit. And over here, Interception. And you just... it's nothing. Let me have a look at the Interception drop table. Kalis. Or Kylus. On rotation A, you've got automatic trigger, combustion rounds, dual rounds, hollow bullets, magazine extension, modified munitions, parallax scope, repeater line barrel, venomous clip. Each of those mods is 2.51%. Otherwise, it's 250 endo. That's rotation A. Rotation B, 10% per item. It's superior defenses, bleeding edge, superior defenses again. Sure. Argon plating, furor, glacial edge, electrified barrel, energy inversion. Or 20% chance of 250 endo. And on rotation C, it's Axie Relics. Most of the time, although about 32% of the time it's 400 endo. And that's it. So you have to get all the way through to rotation C for this mission up here to drop you something that isn't a little bit of endo or an Arcwing mod. And Prince Curtis, you are absolutely correct. You do not need to do Arcwing missions to get Arcwing mods. A large portion of mine have not come from there. If I just go 1, 2, 3, let's see, how long is this going to take? How many of these am I going to have to do? Well, that UI looks a little bit broken, but there we are. Don't know why there isn't a fade out to hide the rest of the UI. That just looks wrong. Possibly a bug. But the very first transmutation, I now have sudden impact. Arc melee mod for status chance. Just like that. It cost me 12,000 credits and 4 bronze mods that no one cared about in the first place. Cheers, Dirty Badger. So this just further adds to it. Not only are the Arcwing missions so much of a content island in terms of you build the Arcwing to play the Arcwing to build the Arcwing that you basically just don't use anywhere else. You then also can actually just skip out the content island grind by playing the rest of the game. The content island has an export. Sorry, has an import. So you don't even need to go there. Howdy endo? That's not even the highest I've had. Come on, Wally, it's not that much endo. You want to see endo? This is endo. This is when you know you have endo to spare. Hello, Akafai. And this isn't even me trying. When was the last time any of y'all saw me do a sortie? Or the weekly item hunt? These are just the ones that I've acquired. Great Kit Goo was saying the island is adjacent to Railjack. That's something. It's something in the way that a cheese sandwich might be adjacent to a healthy diet. It's like, sure, but you're still missing everything else if all you've got is bread and cheese. There's a lot more work needed to turn that into an actually full-on healthy diet. And in the video game sense, lots of work. Yeah. Also, let's be real. When it comes to Railjack, the majority of Railjack missions are performed on the Railjack or in the boarding section, which means you're spending a tiny amount of time in your Arcwing. Genuinely tiny. Yeah, Sacrifice says they use it just to board enemy ships. Even when it comes to boarding enemy ships, a lot of the time, if you're going to board a cruise ship, you can just slingshot yourself at it, pretty much skipping the Archwing section. And if you're going something that is a landed objective, then you can't just slingshot into it, but you can still cover 6 kilometers nice and quick. So yeah, it's Archwing missions basically have no place in Warframe at this point in time. There was rumour at one point that they were going to be removed. I think it was from D themselves that they said they were looking at potentially removing them. That hasn't come to pass, and I think part of why it's not come to pass is because, let's face it, why spend the dev effort to remove it? Straight up, why? So yeah. I don't see anything happening to those missions in the foreseeable, and D may surprise me on that, but I think in the entire, 6 years I've been playing this game, 6 years of it, the entire Archwing content I have seen added was Railjack, which basically isn't Archwing. Archwing's a present, but it's not Archwing content. So yeah. Alright, very long chatter on that point, but the point remains I still need to level up the Mandadel, and how many times do I want to level it up? I'm thinking this is going to need a few polarities, actually. It's going to likely want modding similar to the Morsey, so how many polarities are here? 4 polarities in total, so we're going to need to level it up 3 times. Now, so I don't mean it in a way that says, oh, Archwing was good, it was unique, but sucked in the long run. Changing it ruined a lot of character. I know what you say on that. Yeah, there was the change to Archwing movement. And Archwing movement, it was difficult to use. And I say that as someone who has played more than their fair share of 3-dimensional space-style games. Including one which was so grounded in real physics that I had to break out the constant acceleration equations to know when to kick in the boosters in order to not crash into the face of a planet. I could also tell you that upon running said calculations, half the time I would figure it out after I passed the point where I should have started decelerating. It took me a moment to learn that lesson. So, with that kind of experience behind me, when I say that Archwing movement felt weird and difficult, it felt weird and difficult. So, yeah, we lost some identity of it, but it made it a hell of a lot more accessible. In other news, I am having a look at this here. Did they throw a dart at a dartboard when deciding what to put where? We've got the horizontal spread, cool, but then we're talking about a quick shot, which one would assume the horizontal spread is the quick shot, but the fact they use different terms is not great on that. And then we get a charge shot, which, considering it's a replication of details, one would assume that it's also a horizontal spread, but then we get charge, which is a replication of the top section of stats, which one would assume would then be followed with the damage that comes from it. This is all just the wrong way around. I'm fairly certain those should just be the other way around, but yeah, that's not the way I'd do it. That is not the way I'd do it. Let's go get this thing leveled. I've got to do it a bunch of times over. Where is going to be the best place to get this leveled nice and quick? Part of me wants to say slap it onto a necromech and level it that way. But I'm not going to do that. I am not going to do that. I am instead going to equip it right here. Sanctum? Okay, that's one word. What's the rest of them, Salvatore? Station Seal Path? That's kind of what I was thinking, yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna level it up over on one of those godforsaken Archwing modes. Do I want to make any changes to this? Ammo max? What was I doing with this before? Let's take off that. Let's take off that. Let's take off that. Was I trying to trigger someone with this? I feel like I was, and I've triggered myself. There we go. Yeah, we just don't need this right now. And let's go with... what's crit stats like? Crits aren't amazing on it, so we'll skip those. Let's go for some good old... that into... actually, might as well just go full blast. Sod it. Go full blast. What about third Profit Taker Bounty? I did have that in mind as well, but I just don't want to do that one. So I was saying, like, using Necromek in Sanctum Survival. Okay, so you go into the survival mission, have to find one of the terminals, and then summon it from there. I see what you're saying. I have an inbox message. Why do I have it? Don't forget to unlock your arcane slots. I think we have enough of these, Mirrorlade, but thank you very much. Thank you for adding yet more to the pile. The pile which is, at this point, 90% sourced by you. Thank you. I'll just slap those on. And let's just be merciless about it. Don't have to think, don't have to do, just get some deeps on it and take it from there. Alright. Let's see, where was the one? Is it here? There it is. Oh! I'm taking Lavos? Nope. No. We don't need to take Lavos. We can take... we could take Trinity, but actually she only gives max health for running a Misha. We don't need that, so we're going to take Garuda. Garuda. There we go. Alright. Back to it. Do I think any secondary arcane can beat Innovate on Archguns? In some cases, yes. Because Innovate is nowhere near as good if the arc weapon has is hit scan.
Trust in your training.
Alright, so far so good. It shoots. That charge time is diabolical. The beam's cool. Can't be mad at that, but the charge time on that is diabolical. And trying to aim for the cluster of them did not actually kill them all, and is now only doing 25 damage per tick in the beam. You know what? I think I'm just going to spam fire. Whatever that charge fire is wanting from me in this mission, not with this modding, it ain't. Now, killing most of these enemies is going to achieve very little for me because most of these enemies do just suck. But when we get Xmas enemies, that's where the value is going to be. And they will appear more towards the end of the mission. A hit scan like Imperator Witch Arcane. Cascadia Flare is usually a good one because 480% pure damage bonus, and all you need to do is get heat from any source, heat procs. Yeah, that's pretty damn good. This is a mildly annoying weapon to fire. And by mildly, I mean very. I'm having to spam click because it's a charge weapon and I don't want it to charge, and the sound is not exactly pleasant. Donk. Alright, on location. Start taking out the next round of stuff. You found adding multi-efficiency to the Amisha means you can drop beacon ability 3 times or keep defense points safe the entire time. Yeah, fair dude. To be honest, I forget about the abilities on this thing. I know that one is basically Mesmer skin, and like a true Revenant style player, I then stop there. Focus down the Xmas unit, 17,000 affinity for that, versus 224 for another mook that was right next to them. An order of magnitude different. Charge effects not doing anything useful. Put you one on defense target, and then 2 between you and defense target. Fair enough. I'll be honest, I did not know you could put the 1 on something else here. Oh, hi Xmas. Thank you for the affinity. Huh. I just saw an Xmas. Take down the Xmas. There we go. Alright, we should have another Xmas by this point, I think, somewhere. I think. Don't know where I'll be looking for it. But I am looking for the effects from it. So far not seeing. Oh, there it is. Energy leech. And an Arctic. There we go. Okay, how do it? Max rank. Pretty good. Wouldn't rank it to max from 0, but still max rank from where we were. Which is good enough for me. That firing sound is pretty grating. It is pretty damn bad, isn't it? I might actually just kill the sounds for leveling up a few more times over. Because that is horrible. Has anyone got any objection to me killing the in-game sound for the moment? Or at least the weapon sound. I think I can turn off just my own weapon sound. Personal weapons volume. Any objections to me doing that? What's so special about this gun anyway? That's what I'm going to find out once I've actually got it leveled up in performance so I can properly compare it. I'm going through that effort so that you may not have to. Its unique trait is the beam charge Corvex's Trinket pillars. So similar to how the Arbiter will double the effect of Noko's mushrooms. Fully charged shots dissolve into a radiation field. Projectiles that pass through the field gain double damage, double status chance, a little bit extra crit, more crit damage, extra bounces, and some punch through, and projectile speed. So that's a whole bunch of stats into one big old beam arenas, but yeah, you do need to actually utilize said beam for it to be worth it. Tap this on there. Oh, there it is. Wait, so that... Is that charge time not affected by fire rate? Is that a... To the wiki. Man Dornell. Is there a tooltip saying that that just doesn't work? I At a glance, I'm not seeing anything on the wiki suggesting that is a thing, so is this weapon just so unloved that no one's noticed? Yeah, no note whatsoever on that. Alright. And on Archguns have a separate one. Charge. Are you sure that's the right thing? Shell Rush. Increases the charge rate of Archguns, particularly the Corvus and Velocitus. Huh. Wiki has notes about Corvus, Velocitus, Larkspur, and Morzelon. Doesn't mention anything about the Mandanel, but maybe that's just because no one's come back to this page since the Mandanel was added. Because spending 7 drain on a 50% charge rate bonus kind of sucks. Yeah. Wow. That's, Who designed these mods? I have to ask that because Warframe already existed when Shell Rush was added into the game. Shell Rush was added to the game. Okay, granted, Shell Rush was added to the game 2015. This was 3 mainline updates after the starter frame switched from being low-key in the options to vault in the options. So this is ancient. Granted, it is absolutely goddamn ancient. If I go to update 17.9.2 where this got added, where they literally added that mod and then a few fixes, okay. 17.9 in general was Day of the Dead, which added the Serrata, some Day of the Dead skins, and various bits and pieces. I have to scroll further back to anything else of significance. There was Trinity Prime added 17.6, Jorda's Precept 17.5, so that's how far back we're talking. Okay. Fair enough. Was this before or after the 6060 mods? Very good question. Let's have a look at charged bullets and get an idea from that. Charged bullets. Charged bullets was added 2018. 3 years later. In fact, Charged Bullets, its birthday was just 4 days ago. Huh. So 3 years later they added in Charged Bullets, which has the exact same drain, but instead of a plus 50% charge rate on a couple guns, it gives all of those guns plus electric plus status. And if I compare it to the other ones, let's see here, so... were all of them added at the same time? One would hope, but you can never be quite certain. 2018... No, 2014 for the Heat one. So for 4 years... Am I reading that correct? Operation Eyes of Blight, blah 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 blah. Rewards, if you get enough battle points from the event, you can get the Magma Chamber mod. So it was added to an event 4 years earlier, putting it even some time before Shell Rush. Yeah, a year before Shell Rush. Oh, did I not rename a build again? Sorry. There we go. So this was added a few years before this, but still a year after the 60/60 Heat one. Okay. Still. In all that time, no one ever thought to go, maybe fire rate should just buff charge time like the other stuff. Maybe some mods should just have some higher numbers than what they've got here. In case anyone needs a reminder, I love this reminder. Look at this amazing mod right here. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh, is that not the weapon of all time? For a full 7 drain, you can get 10% extra attack speed. It's 2025 and this mod still exists. Hello, Ellie. 2025. Did I even rank up a Furor? I don't think I have, no. No, I've never ranked up a Furor mod. Probably out of just a desire to give it the greatest middle finger I can. I don't appear to have one. Your mobile Twitch won't send messages? Oh, that's weird. I say for say, in fairness, if you put a potato on it, I'm not sure you're able to use all 60 capacity of Archgun mods at the time. What's that in fairness to, Masafer? What is that in fairness to? I say every time I do it says being checked by mods. Checked by mods? You shouldn't be listed under suspicious users, and in fact, no, you're not listed under suspicious users. No, there's absolutely no suspicious users in the chat whatsoever at the moment, so hooray. Great. But yeah, this is an absolutely terrible mod, and there is no reason I can see for it to be this terrible. No reason whatsoever. So for saying the capacity price would be meaningless in a world where you could barely reach 60 anyway. Oh, I see what you're saying now. You're saying if I put 60 on this, I wouldn't be able to use the full 60. That's what you're claiming. Right. I mean, ignoring formers, because this has 2 formers in here, there's still Bleeding Edge, which would take up 14. And then you've got... how much is... oh, can't even check that way. Cutting Edge here, which is a 16. That's already 30 right there. That's a 9. That's a 9. So that's another 18. So we've got 48 in 4 mods. And you know we could find 12 in the other remaining mods, because there's things like the 6060s. Even if you put a 6060 in every slot, that's what? 56 drain, and those are some of the cheapest mods to fit. Yeah. Was there not a plus range mod for Archgun, Arc Melee? Yep. Plus attraction range, plus melee range. Yeah. Plus 3. That's... I'm not about to see that go to 145, am I? No, it's 245. Okay, so what's the... So what's the plus 3 melee range? So yeah, there will not be an improvement to Archwing missions, because even the actual Arc weapons themselves are so beyond relevant, it seems. Ballista measure. What the fuck is a ballista measure? Hold on, let me just close so many tabs I don't need. Ballista measure, there it is. On Archgun, plus 20% range. Huh. Increases the damage fall-off range on Archguns. Huh. Huh. Yeah, I just don't have it. Splendid. I don't think I'm missing anything, to be quite honest. Well, that does leave a note I do need to add somewhere else. Also, just had some good news elsewhere, but I will come back to that later. There is something I need to make a quick note on because of that realization of that mod. Uno momento. You open this. Shoot, where was it in here? Sorry, one moment. Wait, fuck off. What's that? Where'd that come from? Go away. There we are. Just open office in the background goes, hey, did you want me? Like, no, don't pop up on my screen. Okay, the thing I'm trying to find apparently does not exist. There it is. Right, fixed. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. And are you telling... Wait. Ballista measure cannot be obtained from transmutation. Amazing. Where does it drop? It drops from Gyre Eviscerator and Gyre Suppressor. Don't take Gyre to that mission then. And it drops... What? 0.1% of the time from those particular enemies. What the hell happened at DE during that time? I'm sorry. This is a 2020 mod. This isn't some 2015 or similarly aged thing. 2020. Specifically from the Gyre Suppressors and Gyre Eviscerators, which means they are only on Saturn Proxima. Only there will you get that mod. It is the rarest of the mods they drop. And you would need to kill on average 1,000 of them, 995, 1,000 of them to get it. This takes up an entire mod slot, 9 drain on a D polarity, to give you a 20% increased AoE. Or 20% increased beam length. And wait, hang on. And in terms of beam length, yeah, beam length is usually an Exilus mod. Beam length is usually an Exilus mod. But this, because it's both beam length and damage range. It says here, Blister Mod increases the damage fall off range. Why is the range not blue? That's weird. Anyway, yeah. So, increase the AoE or increase the length. Because it affects the AoE, it's not an Exilus mod. Also, Archgun's don't have Exilus slots. I mean, yeah, there's that, but it's still crazy that you would have this mod that drops in such an obscure location, cannot be transmuted, is obtainable after such an amount of grind in order to get that. It's just... no other benefit? Just 20% range? I'm trying not to get morose over this. I look at something like I really do have to wonder at times, like, what was the goal here? What was the idea? I just... whatever. It is what it is. We don't need the mod. We can imagine the mod never existed. For the vast majority of people, it doesn't exist. I'm fairly certain if I put up a poll about it, I would have to subtract the lizard quotient to remove over half the answers. Or at least over half the answers of saying, yes, I own that mod. I just... What's lizard quotient? Lizard quotient, I think it's actually lizard man quotient. I'm misquoting, but lizard man quotient is in a survey of people. If you ask them, do you believe that the world is run by lizard men? You'll get a small percentage of people, about 3 to 5%, who will say yes. They're not saying yes because they believe it. They're saying yes because they have seen this question, seen this poll, and decided to respond yes. For no other reason than it's the wrong answer. So the lizard man quotient is to basically acknowledge that if you give people a question where there is an absurd answer, there is a slim portion of people who will pick the absurd answer because it is absurd. So if I were to ask, do you have this absolutely abysmal mod, Ballista Measure, which has some ridiculous routes of obtaining for such a pointless benefit? By those same rules, a roughly 3 to 5% portion of people would say yes, they have it, even though they don't, just because it would be ridiculous. I would even get a subset of those people in the comments arguing that it is a great mod and it should be used on every single AoE Archgun. Yeah. What's crazy is, with it dropping only from those two specific giant enemies, which is only in Saturn Proxima missions, if you are the one who does all the railjack stuff rather than the boarding objectives, you will never, ever, ever, ever get this mod, because you never actually go fight those enemies. By the very nature of playing the game mode as intended, you won't get it if you happen to take the role that doesn't take you off ship. From a cipher, Warframe is just so many consecutive layers of development that you will find a shocking amount of appendices like these where it's not worth updating them because the existing is both pointless and harmless. Oh yeah, this is why I say that we're not going to have any updates to Archgun missions. It's that very same point. I probably made it before you joined the stream today, but it's still there, yeah. So there are going to be a bunch of mods just all over the place that make absolutely no sense as to why they're still there. Absolutely. Other than they got added in, and that's life. It doesn't change the fact that I look at it and I wonder who was thinking about it when they added it in the first place. It would be like adding in a new gun today, MR15, whereupon it has a base damage of 10, a crit chance of 1%, a status chance of 2%, and has enough shots to reload 4 times before you have to find some ammo. With such terrible numbers, you would wonder why the hell it was even added. Never mind, are they ever going to go back and fix it? Ray raises another brilliant point. Warm Coat was made. This mod was made. Like the gun from the tutorial quest? The tutorial quest is designed for new players, and if you compare it to other weapons new players get, it's a good weapon. This mod, on the other hand, at what point ever would you want to give up an entire mod slot on your Warframe and drain for 12% resistance to environmental... 12% shield resistance to environmental ice hazards? No point during the entire development of Warframe, at any point ever, could you tell me this was remotely useful. There is not a single part of the game, in any part of its existence ever, that this would have been relevant. Ray saying, this used to have the purpose where ice hazards would not only drain shields per second, but also affected your shield max. Cool, okay, but that's 12%. That's 12%. Which means you'd have to hit a breakpoint, or it doesn't matter. On top of the opportunity cost of literally anything else. This mod, and some of the others we've looked at today, are the equivalent of some of the perks in goddamn, what's it, Starfield, which was an entire game of mediocrity. Zero Striker saying Ballista Measure is an Archgun mod that increases damage fall off range in arc guns. Continuous arc guns, the mod increases beam length. From Wiki, you're saying it's also beam length. Sorry, what am I trying to confirm correct or not there, Zero Striker? I just read the Wiki like you. Because I'm not about to go testing a mod that looks like an absolute pile of crap and isn't in my collection. So I'm not sure what you're actually asking me, sorry. Cheers, Darkwolf. Yeah. I do find myself despairing at the decisions that lead to some things we see in this game at times. Genuinely despairing. And all that triggered from automatic trigger not affecting charge time of all things. The more you look, the more you find, and the more you wish you never did look in the first place. What do I want to equip here? I'm not even been aiming with it because it just feels painful to utilize that way. So let's instead slap on an electrified barrel here to make this a magnetic heat. That should cut through the corpus just a little bit faster. That happened whilst I was looking away. It did. There we go. Alright, got to level this up some more times. Now we've got the weapon sounds turned off, so it should be far less of a pain in the ass to listen to this time. If I'm wrong on that, we'll adjust further sound settings until I become right.
The art of combat
What message would Sithius need to receive?
to truly master the canvas of war.
Okay. That sounds so weird, having no sound at all to it. But it's for the best. It is for the best.
Destroy this data, then have it land in our hands.
It's so much better? Yeah. Do these enemies want to come, like, actually fight me? These aren't actually stealth weapons, I just can't hear them myself. Aye. Some non-threats. Speaking of sounds, I did see a post over on Reddit earlier where someone was... How was it? Yes, someone was asking if they could disable specifically the pulsing sound on navigation. Based on the comments I could see, I think what they're on about is the pulsing sound of an incompleted node. I don't think Warframe usually has that level of granularity. Yeah. Before Ken finds obscure bug because I finally played an Archwing mission. I played a fair chunk of Archwing. I have played a fair chunk of it. It just it's dated content. It is definitely dated. Pop that on there. Pop that. Even with the charge mod, it's still slow? I'd imagine so. 1, 2... Yeah, it's 1.5 seconds at base there. 1 second only takes off half a second. And... Oh, that's an Xmas, that's why I'm not killing it. That is the very thing I am here to try and kill. There we go. Line them up. Don't think that really did much of good to me, other than make this area look even worse. Can stack the stack up the 2 for 3 times more on the 2. Oh yeah, you could just stack the time on it. Okay. Rather unusual for an ability, but there we go. Take out the Guardian.
I got what we need. Find the next satellite.
How are we doing on the XP? Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, at least we've had a good feel for how this weapon works in this area. Astonishingly. I think just for the sheer distance of these is where I'm going to use the beam. Oh, that one was an Xmas unit. Oh, there's a bit of enemies over here. There are! Hello! Well, that was fun. Back to beaming these ones. Feels like there's an Xmas. There it is. Oh, and another one. Okay. Why are they all staying so far away from... Oh, radiation procs. Oh. I was causing the enemies to shoot pointlessly at each other the entire time. That's frustrating. But I found my Xmas in the end. Another Xmas. Was there another one back here that I saw? No, I guess not. Another Arctic. There we go. We're up to rank 25. Made decent enough progress in the end. Don't mind the old fight happening with... I think that's a Fomorian, right? Male or Fomorian? Surrounded by a lot of Corpus wreckage. And we're just casually sliding on through, defending some terminals.
As you conquer the foe, so you conquer yourself.
Alright. Through we go again. We're going to keep leveling this one up. As much as I maybe putting this weapon on the shelf forever once I have fully formed it to the point I want it to be at. We're still going to go through the process.
All that you have learned.
This is what we get. I might as well just skip these ones, because the Xmas units are going to be basically everything for the leveling. I want to see just how much XP a single Xmas gives me in a moment. Just stack all that on there. Looks like I have index points. Hell yeah. I mean, considering I am getting bonus damage because Garuda, it's not entirely inaccurate appearance. Yeah, so I'm seeing 900 affinity, 900, 225, 224, 900. So wonder just how much affinity I'm getting in general on the gun here. Yeah, 11776 if I pop the U. 224, 11884, 776. It's 112, yeah, so it's half going to the weapon here, just like normal. Okay. This is with boost? This is with boost, yes. Granted, I could have gone to a relay, but I don't think the extra 25% would have ticked it over.
I got what we need. Find the next satellite. The surveillance data is heavily encrypted. It will take time to extract.
Edhas, what do you need help with? I don't have a help command set up to just kind of spontaneously create a Cephalon for you. Alright, Guardian Xmas. I killed that. 11,000 affinity. So if I'm getting 900 from some of these, 224 from others, it's about 20 enemies equivalent from one Xmas. About that. That's quite an upgrade, you know. Broadly good. You forgot all the commands? I mean, it depends on what command you're looking for, really. What are you attempting to achieve? Use your words. Or you can do that, yeah. Just look through the entire command list, I guess. Can't see how many Xmas I've killed, but I think it's 4, might be 5.
Move on to the next target.
So Xmas currently account for about half of all the affinity I've gained in this mission. Is my estimate. Hello, Tidus. Welcome on in. Love the videos, recently found you on Twitch. Glad you enjoyed them enough to pop over here. Hope you enjoy your stay just as much. Boop. Alright. There we go. That is as defended as it needs to be. We'll just keep an eye out for those Xmas units. Speaking of which, there we go. Nice lovely chunk. Command should be updated. Which command is that? Ah, right, ticker. I mean, ticker didn't get the update about what's changed, but sure. Does it strictly need updating? As I said, most likely said this before, but what are we testing if running Archgun is viable for XP farming?
5 moths already. Kinky poke snack, kinky poke snack.
I'll come back to you, Editors. Thank you very much there, Queen, for the 35 months of support. Much appreciated. And indeed, on the very next one, you'll get on our lovely new silver pot. You're very nearly there. Thanks again, Queen. Much appreciated. Yeah, Editors. I am just leveling the gun. We'll be doing the testing of the gun when it's appropriately leveled multiple times over so that I can get good value out of it, theoretically. Come on, you idiot. Pop. There we go. Is it max rank? It is. I'll just leave. Bounce, bounce, bounce. And we're out. There we are.
So we learn the importance of clarity and purpose.
Honestly, Boone, it doesn't need to recommend any giveaway at all at this point. It's just ticker being ticker. Yeah, there we are. I've updated the ticket command. It no longer refers to ticket. That's been fixed. That's a command? That's a... I didn't even know we had the exclamation mark vanish command. Okay, well, fair enough. Yeah. Okay. Alright then. Queen had to find out. Oh dear.
Ahoy. I return once more. By the way, did that tip I sent during QTCC ever get to you?
First of all, Esprino, thank you very much for resubscribing that up onto 46 months. Much appreciated there. You're actually just a couple away from one of those brand new sub badges added in. Recolors of the same, but still brand new. Aside from that, as to the QTCC tip, nothing popped up for me, as far as I could see, no. I'm going to give it another check for you, seeing as you're asking, but I'm fairly certain if I just scroll through tips here... And 2 months ago. No. Not a damn thing on that one. It applied on your card. That's not good. So you were charged. Okay, Esprit. So I need to know, did you use !tip and follow through that link? Also, let's get rid of the golf command because D actually removed that from the game. There's no point having that linked anymore. Okay, so Esprit went through !tip, tried to give a tip, got charged, and it never reached me. Edos, why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? Yes, we have some older commands. Alright. We have some older ones. What's my favourite nuke frame? I don't really have a particular favourite, but I did put a few together in a nuke frame video. Yeah. You say you wanted to check the commands? Yeah, you didn't say you wanted to bully me with them. Lil Rasco, on the topic of QTCC, received my prize to the sponsored giveaway, won on your stream. Thank you so much. Very welcome, and thank you again for joining in on that. I do understand that all but one prize has been sent out. That last one might have recently gone out as well now, because out of the nearly 100 prizes, only a single person, only one, gave me the wrong username when they used !IGN. And luckily, it was a typo that they had already sent correctly. I went through their message history, found where they sent the correct username, so I could pass that along to D when they got back to me like, hey, this user doesn't exist. But they had resubmitted their IGN command with a typo, and I guess just didn't notice. But I fixed that now for them. So yeah, one person had delayed delivery on that. And no, Queen, it wasn't you. Okay, Esprit, you definitely have my attention on that. Right. Esprit, did you go through SE Pay? Because I think you do prefer to go through that. Did you go through SE Pay, or did you go through another means? Because I want to know where your money's gone just as much as you want to know where your money's gone. Let's see.
Magical.
At the Almite Queen River here is a good place for bad UCAS smile.
I mean, that is an option, I suppose. Yeah, Miralabe, thank you very much for the £10 tip. Much appreciated on that. But yeah, Esprit, we will cover this further off stream, 100% for you, because that is very problematic. And yeah, I've just gone through again on the SE Pay. There is absolutely nothing on there. The last thing I have on that was August 29th, and that wasn't even from you. The last one from you on that side, because I know you prefer to use it that way, was in February. So I have you listed. You are able to use that, and it just did not come through on there. Yeah, thumbs up, but not a thumbs up. We'll cover that off stream for you. Very sorry about this. I mean, obviously neither of our fault, but still sorry all the same. Right, Mandanel. Prepare to consume another of these former. You don't deserve it, you don't need it, but you're having it anyway. Let's slot that onto there. There we go. Now we've got triple elements. We've got damage multi-shot and fire rate. Are crits worth investing into this? Possibly. So let's just slap the first of the crits on there. Bam. And now let's go level it again. Actually, before I go level it, I have an ingenious idea. Why not use the fact that I'm MR30 plus? Let's pop ourselves to here. I completely forgot there was a quick travel. Oh well, whatever. And one affinity blessing. Bada bing. Bada boom. Let's get out of here before someone gives me a damage blessing. Don't want that messing up the testing that we do. Alright then. Celestial is the one I wanted. Let's go into it and level this up once again. Doesn't even show here, of course. And there's one of the few weapons that's not going to get omnis from you? Quite possibly here, Mirrorlade. Quite possibly. If it needs an omni, I can look at an omni, but for now, it probably just doesn't need that. Flap, 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 flap. Alright then. That's fully set. The duration is longer than we'll actually be here. Let's just shoot stuff. Mandalef Arcane still feels to be a tap smap weapon. Charge shot doesn't feel good on it. Tap shot, yeah. Tap spam. Got it, got it, got it. And yeah, the charge, it has buffs, it has features, but it's putting in effort for a return one doesn't really feel. And that ain't good. Oh, wow, that's amazing. Hitbox forever. Hell yeah. All the punch through. Got stuck on nothing. Take out the Guardian. Yeah. Oh, I see. A VPN was stopping you, was it, Ellie? I see. Yeah, some websites and services get a little bit sketchy about certain VPNs. It could be you have a different VPN on mobile to what you have on PC. If you do, then it could be the one that's on mobile is listed as a bad actor VPN. And so is blocked. At least partially blocked. Yeah. If it's the same VPN for both, then God knows. Like if you're using same server. Should be weird. It could also be they've decided to just limit mobile because of maybe, again, some malicious actors using VPNs on mobile. Some of you may have seen pictures of those insane bot farming arrays, which are basically just dozens upon hundreds of mobile phones just laid out, all doing whatever botnet thing they need them to do. Oop, nearly died. How careless of me. There we go. Should no longer be an issue. XP rank 20. I think we got one satellite left. Yes.
Find the next satellite.
There we go. We've had a few bits of weirdy schmeediness. I'll be honest, everything feels weirdy schmeedy in tech these days. Everything. Is there anything that isn't falling apart, or at least struggles from time to time? When doing the captions for the most recent video, the one with Zach in it, Because YouTube has changed their system on how to do captions, I had to download the captions off the YouTube format after getting it set up with the timestamps, because it's just easier to do it through YouTube's own system. They've reduced the number of formats I can download it in down to just one, and it's not the right one. So I have to convert that format first, to then have it in a format that I can implement the colors, change that into yet another format which YouTube actually accepts, and then that can be implemented. It's just a whole bloody process to avoid spending out on so-called professional programs for it. And with all of that done, I then struggled to actually get it implemented because the colors just weren't being accepted. It turns out that one of the converters I was using just completely removed all of the color information, but when I ran it through a second time, it didn't. The color information was there. So things just break. Things just break. Yeah, pick a frame is an old one. Pick a frame is an old one. That's going back to ancient era. Alright, I'm going to see if I can get the extra affinity I need. Alright, cool, that was easy. Before I leave the mission. Yep, there we are. Alright.
As you conquer the foe, so you conquer yourself.
There we go. Yeah, let's remove yet another old command, because people are digging through commands looking for old weird ones. There we go. Whilst we're at it, good. Looks like all the Among Us ones are already gone. You're pen testing for me? I don't think we call that pen testing, but okay. Middle of saying, try to put you two not so close to defense target. The enemy tried to shoot at the two middle point. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Right. Mandadel, once again, here we go. I hope I have my polarity count correct. Yeah, we're putting on the fourth one now. I said earlier the fourth one would be sufficient. When I'm looking at this thing, it doesn't look like it would be. So what's different here? I mean, if I put the V polarity on there, that'll take 4 off the drain. That gives us 6. That's not enough of that. Mozzie? Wait. Okay, so we got 3 elements. Ah, Mozzie's using Crux Flare, that's why. It's only 1 prime mod. Got it. That's why. Yeah. Now, with this being a projectile weapon, it's almost certainly going to benefit from Innovate. So it's going to want more of an Armor Sep style approach to it. Armor Sep has, yep, 5 polarities. God fucking damn it. Okay. We shall continue. In pain. So yeah, that can equip all of nothing right now. Just stick with the Mercilesses for the moment, might as well. Actually, no. Let's go with the Innovate. So give us the crit, and let's go with... We'll stick with that for now on that side of things. And then we can do... Critical Focus to instead get crit damage out of that. Although, actually... Where is it? I'm probably better off just with that one, so I don't have to aim. There we are. Okay. Atlas's passive... Honestly, I didn't think it would activate whilst in Archgun, but good to know. However, it's not exactly the most useful considering Amisha, at least the one I'm using, already has that status block built in. It's not that great. Whereas Garuda here gives you double damage.
You may yet avoid it. Trust.
Double damage kind of wins for me. Especially when leveling a weapon. We just deal so much more damage. There we go. Yeah, it's a little bit off to the side from it now. So that should... Oh my god, the bounces are actually sending the bullets right back at me. That makes sense. There we go. Red crit in an Archwing mission. Hello, Logrin. We're doing alright. Just leveling up the Mandanel many times over just to call it a pile of shit in the end, I'm sure. But still leveling it. Oh, shoot. Alright, another one found. Let's just yeet that one into the abyss. There we go. Hey, Corpus, do you want to get shot? Yeah, you do. Yeah, you'll do. There you go. Have some bullets. Whew, I think that was a 21,000 Xmas.
I have the data. Move on
Nice.
to the next target.
21,000 Infinity, not level.
Destroy this data, then have it land in our hands.
A level 21,000 appearing right now would be concerning for many reasons. Not least of which, what the fuck? I think I've activated enough abilities. How are we doing? Level 18. Not too shabby at the moment. Can the enemies actually finish getting here? There we go, level 19. Got some more tellurium. The beast mods shouldn't activate here, is my understanding. Because my companion just isn't here. Although I don't know... Did I have a companion equipped at all? I'm fairly certain they just don't activate here. Fairly certain. What's the fail condition between mobile defenses besides full party wipe? Mission timeout. If you just spend too long and not do anything, the mission can just fail.
I got what we need. Find the next
Alright, this area done. I don't see any more Xmas around. So let's just go. Rank 21. We do need a few more good kills. Oh, speaking of. There we are. Rank 22. You managed to hit failure condition between defenses? Huh. Yeah, Shezbot, it should only really happen if either the console gets blown up, or if the mission just straight up times out because you took like an hour on it. That's all I can think of. Jellyfish, thank you very much for dropping your sub over here once again up onto 13 months. Much appreciated. I hope you're doing well. One thing I can guess might cause a fail that looked like it was between rounds is if someone put it in whilst they had a rad proc or an enemy with a lot of damage was already shooting at them, and so it got the console destroyed right in that moment. So it may have looked like it failed between rounds, but it actually failed because the console got blown up. But that's the only thing I can think of that would cause that outright. Otherwise, when that kind of thing happens, if you have the ability, use the record most recent moment feature you can get on some graphics cards to just kind of be able to review the footage and go, what the hell just happened there? It's a very useful feature. NVIDIA Shadow Play, or whatever it's called for AMD. Or it could be the game just doesn't like you. Things do bug out, as we discussed just earlier. Alright, let's see. Rank 26. Not even close. Where's my Xmas units? I've seen very few this mission. Are they all just kind of chilling out over here? There we go. Rank 28. A little bit more would be great. Rather than do a whole other mission, I am just gonna try and find enough enemies here to finish it off. That should have been enough. Rank 29. Only a few more. I really don't want to do another mission with this weapon right now. At least not without putting a former into it. Oh, let's backtrack a bit. Who are you? That gave a bunch. Ah, there's an Xmas. Alright, there we go. That's all we needed. That was all it needed. Cool.
They well. Good dance all.
8 Tellurium from that. Not too shabby. Yeah, let's equip a companion and see if it triggers. So we'll just grab good old Eevee. There we are. Let's see if I get any pop-ups saying double loot. Simple way to test that one.
The art of combat must be practiced to truly master the canvas of war.
Well, so far I picked up nothing that could even trigger it. Whatever. Oh yeah, it triggered! Double ferrite. Huh. It triggered! Darth Wash Bear! Welcome in. Thank you very much for dropping your sub there up onto 28 months. Much appreciated. And also saw your message. You've got your postcard as well. Very glad that's come through for you. Did I form the Mandonel again? Thank you, Tommy. I really appreciate that. That would have been immensely frustrating if I got to the end of that mission, or even just the first satellite. Thank you. Alright. Polarization. Dash on that. Should be enough to fit everything now. Alright. Yep, there we go. Okay. That all fits now. So I actually don't need to go back into a mission because I don't need to rank it up again. We got the Innovate. This can now... Yeah, so we can swap... Oh yeah, I can do that. Yeah, so Cold Rad, which allows... Instead of Merciless, we can now have Primary Frostbite on there. Or if I wanted to, I could put a Toxin mod instead there. So, and use, instead of Frostbite, I could use the Blight one. But a bunch of the same things should occur. This gives us crit damage to go with the crit chance coming from here, which will give us the stats that theoretically hit whatever maxima we can hope for. So, with that done, let's run similar to what I've run earlier in terms of this lovely little TXT. So, Mandonel. Let's have a look. Now, in terms of... yeah, it is quick shot we're using. Pretty much every stat I need should be just in here for me. Makes this convenient. So, Mandonel, using again Frostbite plus Innovate. Seems like the right combo for this. So, the base visible damage from the Shock and Blast is 39,922.8. That is multiplied by the same kind of damage and multi-shot doodads we've been doing. There we go. This time fire rate. Now fire rate, it says 4.8, but there is a little bit of a delay brought in by the fact that we have to actually spam click. So I'm going to say 4.6. Just as a matter of course there. And then we have our crit consideration. Crit damage is a base 3.6. No, it's not. It is just flat 2 times. There we go. And in terms of crit chance, I'm going to treat it the same as the others. So it should just copy those stats exactly. Which means then, what is the theoretical DPS on this? It is a staggering 3.9 million. It's 39,360. Ooh. Theoretical DPS absolutely obliterating in the single target arena right there. That number is modded damage, not base. I'm aware. Yeah. I'm aware. And that's why you'll see there is some funky math going on here. You'll notice I have no elemental inclusion in the old equation because it's already over here. You'll notice that this adds on the pure damage mods and then takes off something. What it's taken off there is the already accounted for pure damage. Same with the multi-shot. It's just rather than multiplying in all of the elements and all of the other bits and pieces, I can just take the numbers already visible on screen without breaking the build and then just account for what I need to account for. Gets us to the same point, but also just shortcuts, juggling details as much as possible. In the end, it works. But yeah, this gives us a theoretical DPS with this setup here of 4 million. Now that is a theoretical DPS for many reasons. One, it's a shotgun, you need to land all the pellets. 2, you need to have a fully stacked primary frostbite. 3, you need to be getting an average 150% actual crit chance with how Innovate is rolling around. No guarantees of that. And when you take that all into account, you're still doing it with a cold rad setup if you're using this. You could set this up for a potentially viral approach. If I go viral... okay. Yes, Venomous Clip is a deep polarity. I probably should have put a deep hole on this then. Oh, bollocks. Oh, bollocks to it. Alright, well, I don't like the weapon. I don't want to use it. But let's see. Theoretically, it's got that deeps. Theoretically. So, let's switch back to Lavasorino there. Let's take off the companion so it doesn't get in the way. Let's go slam it into some Grenier idiots and see what happens to them in a quick test.
You are a true hunter. Where would the sanctuary be without...
There we go. Alright then. Bang. Oh, we can turn on the weapon sounds again because we're not constantly leveling the weapon painfully. Let's get that all back to normal. Still not a great sound to it, but it's there. So, you guys, we go I mean, yeah, that spread. That spread is taking away a lot of the deeps. And Frostbite is not even close to being stacked at the moment yet. Not even close. So let's keep shooting. Let's bring in Bombardeximus. Not the Corruptors, because they are resistant to radiation, so that would suck. But all a bunch of these. And this is shooting through, because Mandanel doing Mandanel things. Maybe I want to add in this. Okay. You know what? Let's help it out. Let's do this. Well, that helped. Yeah, rather undeniably, that helped. I think I multiplied my damage by around about 13 times there. Oh, it ran out. Doesn't Mandanel want to shoot the shotgun projectiles through its own beam? I did activate the beam. That shows how effective the beam is, Lincoln. You didn't even realize I did that. Partway through shooting them, that happened. So, yeah. Let's switch the damage type up on this. I may regret decisions that led to me where I am. Oh, bye, levels. Just sit in the floor, why don't you? Oh, this might still work. Yeah, corrosive cold. I can have that there, that's fine. Okay. So let's get started with this. Well, bam. There we go, and then... yeah, switching over to corrosive, definitely the right choice. At least for these specific enemies. And the bouncing is cute and all, but it's hard to make it achieve much. Yeah. I mean, one could attempt to judge the way that I'm firing this, how much or how little I may use the charge shot on it, but like, you don't need to be a genius to see the relative effectiveness on that weapon compared to others we've been testing here. If I just swap this back over to the Grettler, let's bring in this same group of enemies. Let's just double check what I'm on here. Grettler is heat viral. Let's give that a whirl. And this is without using the cold to stack up that other arcane. I could add in some cold. That was the worst way I could have added some cold. We can get some more going. There we go, that's got the cold on there. Alright. So with the cold added on as well, just activating that primary frostbite as much as possible. These Bombard Xmas are being appropriately sent to hell. So yeah, the Mandanelle is theoretically high DPS, but because it's got such a widespread, such an awkward firing mechanism, and sounds so grating, whilst having a unique trait that, to be quite honest, just doesn't really seem to function in a useful manner, I just have to rate the Mandanelle as simply not it. We can give it all the buffs under the sun, but quite frankly, for the amount of effort just gone through leveling in there, I would rather basically any of the others we've tested so far. Even the Morsey is, first of all, much easier to get, much easier to utilize, and yeah, this is a Crux Flare setup. Just bring that to bear for a moment. Don't think I've used that on these enemies just yet. See how it feels. I mean, sure looks fine to me. No abilities used so far. Just the gun. Just the gun. Maybe some punch through would help with the Mandanelle? I'll be honest, not really. Because the beat gives it that. Because yeah, none built in, but yeah, it gains 1 meter punch through and projectile speed on top of the bounces, on top of the crits and everything else there. It just ain't it. Bring these guys back in, and this time let's go with... let's just add on Corrosive. No saving it then? No saving it, no. When you see what can be achieved with a weapon like this, that you just get for free in your cereal, also known as getting a neck back. Yeah. That's just not even close. Citrus Shotty, the Stephalos. It's not a brand of cereal, Neckamech brand. Hey, it's Archgun. You know, they're weird about these things. They are weird about these things. Maybe we're saying you can combine Mandanelle with Banshee to save the weapon. No. Mirrorlade, no. Okay, it's cheating using Banshee. I only included the clip with Noko Banshee in the Noko video because it was just so hilarious seeing 2 billion damage in a completely different room on a red crit from the ability. Otherwise, no. That's cheating. It's like using Mirage. It's not even close to using Mirage, to be honest. Mirage gives you a bunch of buffs. Banshee says, did you touch the enemy? Cool, they're ash. When you use Banshee like Mirrorlade uses Banshee, it is a hack. It is straight up just a hack. I have hit negative damage cap with the Amprex just passing across an enemy during a Netracell because of Mirrorlade's Banshee. There is no amount of weapon modding or comparison that can make up for the goddamn Amprex going negative damage cap. So yeah. Yeah, if a weapon requires Banshee to work, the weapon doesn't work. And that's the, it's not that the Mangonel doesn't work, it does kill enemies. Don't get me wrong on that, it does kill enemies. So for the 6 people out there that equip the Mangonel and go, oh yeah, this is my weapon. This is how I want to play the game. If that's your life, don't let a content creator stop you, you know? You don't need the approval of YouTube, Twitch, Reddit, Discord, or otherwise. If you look at a gun, you can complete missions with it, and you are satisfied using it, go ahead and use it. If not, if you are looking for results, we've got the results on Amanda now. It is no. Alright. Gone through a lot of testing there. I'm going to go on to the next weapon in a moment, but I'm going to BRB in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere. Alrighty. So with a brief away there, let's continue at it, shall we? Let us continue to pop on through these bits and pieces. Let me just delete that as well, because that's all done with. Thank you, Esprit. Alright, so next in the heavy weapons, we've had a look at the Arborcept, the Mangonel, the Borzalon, and the Kuvagradler. I heard a number of calls for the Larkspur. The Larkspur. So I suppose we can have a look at that. We got the Prime here. And it's got a lot of modding on it. Slap some of these in here. Now, this is a beam weapon. And because it is a beam weapon, it means that it's not going to benefit anywhere near as well from Innovate. But it could still benefit overall, maybe? What's that crit damage? Ooh. This one's not going to be an Innovate. In fact, how much damage is that even adding? Having those... What are the... We'll cover the rest of this in a moment. How much damage does that even add? Just as is. If I go 1 plus 28% multiplied by 1.9 divided by 1 plus 14% multiplied by 0.6. 41% damage increase in 2 mods. Let's see what other options I have here. Let us have a look. So, let's take off the quick reload for now. It's a long reload, but yeah, let's take it off for now. We want prime dual rails on here. Automatic trigger can say what it is. Prime deadly efficiency feels like an interestingly positive add as well. We're going to need a former on this, so let's slap that in now over that PDA. PDA, there we go. Leaves us 13 capacity. I was hoping that was going to say 14, but never mind. It is what it is on that there. Do I have a slightly down-ranked mod I could utilize for this? I do have a unranked set of them, so I could apply some that way. That could work. Blast modding goes burrow with Larkspur status. I do see that status is already looking a little bit spicy, yeah. So Blast could indeed be a good way to go on this. So let's consider, would that be a Blast Corrosive way? Yeah, Blast Corrosive we can do here. So let's do combustion rounds. And actually, if I go just full 60/60s, right? I can fit full 60/60s right now, so I just go magma chamber, contamination casing, charged bullets, and hypothermic shell. Fits with 1 to spare. We get 170% status chance. Looking absolutely swank on that. Alright. With those in mind then, what Arcane's going to be the way here? So we're going for a non-crit approach because the crit damage just sucks. So, if we're going to go for that much status, Crux feels like an answer, but we've also been down that road before now. With using that many status mods in the first place. Ammo efficiency is also nice. But damage. I mean, the other options aren't exactly amazing here. I'm going to go with Crux as a default, and that would then require us to go with something like Deadhead to follow up with for the damage, because Flare, as nice as it would be, is less available to us on account of using Blast as the status, if that's where we want to go. Corrosive Heat could also work rather than Corrosive Blast. Yeah. Because out of all of our other options, on status effect deal extra damage, but we're using a heavy weapon, we should be well beyond what that could give us. We're not rolling with it. We don't want crits. Reload speed and multi-shot isn't really what we're looking for either. We don't care for dexterity in this case. Encumber, extra statuses, we're not using condition overload. Innovate we've already ruled out. Fortify is a defensive one, we don't care about it generally. Again, crits, merciless, Deadhead is just better for us on this, one would hope and assume. We'll double check on that. Outburst is not something we're using. Secondary Shiver requires cold. And Secondary Surge, we're not utilizing that. So yeah, I dare say Deadhead is just the answer. Okay. So with this thrown together, how does it operate? Let's just stand over here. Say hello to these guys. Here is one Larkspur Prime. How did the guy behind die first? As yet to get a Deadhead proc, which is slowing this down. Okay, change of plan. Change of plan, change of plan. Not the button I wanted to click, damn you, game. Change of plan, not Deadhead, Merciless. I was trying to go for the heads, but the headshots were just not happening there. As soon as we get the first merciless kills in, it should start to ramp up in power. Although not by too much, because we do already have some base damage built in, don't we? I mean, that's fun. Not sure about the effectiveness, although that one's dead. But that's fun. The status output on this is redonkulous. I wonder if Blast might not be the approach, though. I wonder if we might do better with a corrosive heat approach. Oh god, you're still alive. There's still a bunch of them alive. Yeah, let's just switch. Try it out. Viral heat. Viral heat is also an option. Viral heat, corrosive heat. Corrosive does give us a higher damage increase here. Yeah. Hello, Bingo. Welcome on in. So yeah, let's just stack the heat on this. Way we're going to need to do that is this over here, that over there, this here, that off, and this on for now because of modding limits. Status comes down. Heat, however, is at 58.9% supposedly. We know it's actually less than that. But it'll go higher anyway once Crux kicks in. Kill the 6 survivors, switch to this new run, and bring it in. Okay, so far not that impressive either, but I realise there's something else we can do here. There's something else we can do here. Deadly Efficiency with Crux might be a bit of a bad idea. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Still fiddling. Let's take that out. Let's take that out. Let's put this in, because we're now going for the heat. And that can come out for this onto there, and gives us room to then also go for... Oh, actually... No. Okay. Let's do that with actually... Down here. There it is. That gives us the 1. There we go. Do we need all that status? We don't need all that status. No, there's got to be a better mod that I can fit than that. On headshot kill. We're not getting headshot kills. Random multi-shot, not really interested in that. Magnetic fire rate, I could see some value in that, but not really what I'm looking for. Because crits are just not the way I'm going either, so none of that lot. Not really a lot of great options here. Not a lot of great options. I don't really want to be taken away from the heat, all told. Because the overguard does not hold up that long. I'll go with the mark target. Tabo? Oh, yeah. Very easily overlooked, isn't it? How difficult is that to fit? Okay, cool, yeah. Oh boy. It's not the wrong choice, it's just fitting it. Also, is that the only one I have? Yup. Spicy. We'd need another 4 on this first. Alright, bring this in again. Now what results do we get from just the gun? That's a bit better. That is indeed a bit better. being able to get that massive damage spike from Cascadia Flare up front, very helpful. You got yourself a Larkspur Ribbon. Nice. Yeah, that can certainly help. Yeah. What was the verdict on the Mandanel? The verdict on the Mandanel was D plus do better. It is not a good gun. It is workable if you want to enjoy that weapon. Given your earlier comments, Moon, I believe you are not the person who enjoys it. Yeah, the extra damage from saber rounds on this would not matter given Cascadia Flare and Prime Repeater Line Barrel exists here. 60% on top of already 667%? Yeah, it's a rounding error. It's a rounding error. Now granted, the status chance whilst aiming on marked target is also doing a whole bundle of not much here, because we got 180% here and 300% there. It's 480% bonus, 580 effective total. This brings us from 580 to 700% status chance. That's again not a great increase for entire mod slot. That combustion rounds needs leveling up. So yeah, not amazing options there. But Archgun Ace is just not going to trigger. I don't think. I'm going to pop it on. See if it does trigger for us. I don't think it will. Oh, I do need to actually spawn the enemies. But if it does trigger, then we do end up with a benefit. A benefit that we're not getting elsewhere, really. So, let's give it a whirl. Mr. Ross saying maybe replace the corrosive mods with the unranked counterparts to increase the damage of higher weighting for heat. True, we would proc heat more often, yes. Because we are hitting the corrosive cap very, very quickly here. Oh, I did manage to land a headshot kill there. That gives us a fire rate bonus, at least briefly. Which just increases our lethal capabilities as well. There we are. It feels pretty okay. It's not amazing, but it is okay. I imagine on weaker enemies it would feel much more amazing. But now let's take this one step further. Bonk. Well, that just kind of eats them up a bit. It's a very subtle change. You'd be forgiven for missing it. But that does make the heat a lot more reliable again. But I think we can take this one step further. I think we can take this one step further again. Oh, there we go. That's Lavos winning right there. That is Lavos showing you what he's good for. One mag. Three-quarters of mag, no less. Yeah, that did the trick. Why isn't the magnetic fire rate mod good, Mr. K? Because we'll be adding in magnetic, which we don't really want or need. So it'll be taken away from our heat, and our corrosive, I suppose, but most importantly, taken away from the heat there. Yeah, there is Overguard on every single one of these enemies, because they're Xmas. You'd think, oh, it's got to be a benefit there, but we burned through the Overguard in practically record time. So it's just... I don't see it being that valuable to us in comparison. Granted, though, this is not doing a lot overall either, so just to give it a whirl, why not compare the two? Why not? Let's do that again, and let's also use the viral approach again. There we go. So we got viral, corrosive, heat, and magnetic added in. And yeah, we do just kind of eat them now. Just over half a mag. Let's do that again. And over this side. I didn't quite let go before half mag, but still. 52 ammo consumed for that. That is pretty nice. Now, I am stacking buffs there. If I do this without adding in the viral, let's see what it is with just the weapon effect rather than the Lavos effect. I'm occasionally pointing at the heads there to get the extra benefit, but otherwise it's more a case of I just want to shoot them, get the full effect on. Reload. And there we are. 1 mag and 11. 1 mag and 11. Battle Hunt, are you okay there? You seem to be having a bit of a moment. What are we testing today? Archguns. And with this, with magnetized cycle, we actually can just put a bit more combustion rounds in there, so that's nice. Well, there we are. It's doing a decent enough job there. It is doing a decent enough job. So let's just, once again, bring this in. Lavos keeps on winning when it comes to just everything in Warframe. And it applies here too, because Lavos can give the damage buff to them. So they just kind of do that. Exactly half the magazine you used killed all of them. Oh, it's beautiful. Is this for a future video on reworked Archguns? I will see if it's worth a video on that, but to be honest, it looks like it's worth a video on it, doesn't it? It looks like it is worth a video covering these kind of deets. Let's see, this is currently set up for viral heat. Let's go for a corrosive infusion on it then. Up to here, and Q. That was okay. That was okay. We could do better. We could do better than that. Let me do better. Hold on. There we go. Alright then. Up to the top. There we go. That is better. That is better. We just kind of paint the area a little bit, which triggers off all of our cold procs for primary frostbite, and then we just kind of... we just gun them down. Now, yeah, it does use a whole bunch of a mag to do that, but I mean, we're Lavos. We just make ammo. You look at that. You look at that, and you tell me that you need the new upcoming Unairu superpower. You just need a Lavos. Literally just need a Lavos. And if we did similar with Morzi... yep, that's again a heap viral approach. Okie dokie. Spawn these feckers in. Bada bing. Bada boom. Donk. I mean, who even needs to go to the enemy, you know? Who even needs to go to them? Just tap, 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 tap. Yeah. Lavos one of the best, two best Archgun frames in general. I'd say probably just the best. Like, who are you putting in first place if not Lavos, Darkwolf? I know you can play other frames than Lavos, but Lavos really, really works well when it comes to Archguns. You've already got the massive staying power to allow you to just wield this brute of a weapon. You've got great benefits on the ammo. You've got Valence Formation, which can not only give you a huge elemental damage bonus, but also gives you a huge status proc guarantee. Protea? I can see Protea, yeah. Yeah, Protea you can subsume on a high-powered roar, as you say, with the passive, very right there. Lavos does not get the benefit of Protea's passive, but otherwise can still build up a roar effect plenty fine. Lavos can indeed cast roar. And in fact, weapon max, add in that on top of Valence Formation, let's do it. Let's do it. Now, because of how I've got things set, I just need to quickly amend this. There we go. Just because of the limitations of my build. I need to get closer, I'm killing them too quick to see the heads of the next one. Oh. I was like, which one's still alive? None of them. Why roar on 3? It's just where I'd put it. It still gives me access to the fourth ability for heat. But if you're not using heat for Valence Formation, then slap it over the 4, yeah. There we go. There we go. I can't see through the smoke of death. Yeah, I mean, what more do you need? What more do you need at that point? For old time's sake. And you know these guys deserve every bit of this. Ah, oh, so much better. Try the Xmas Babu Tech Rot. Do I even have them scanned? Nope. Yay! I don't have to do that then. Mercy me. Yeah, the Morsey is just a, hey, did you want a big gun that does big gun things? Here you go, have a big fucking gun. It's basically just a steel girder with gun somehow inserted in it. When you boil down gun to its absolute base concept, this is about as base as big gun get. We just tore it off the side of a spaceship and called it a day. Just gun. gun. And that is immensely satisfying compared to the Mangonel sound. The Mangonel, which just kind of goes... something a little bit more like this. It's that squidgy high pitch to it that... Nope. And it's like, these are shots made of what? Light? Radiation? Something like that? Why did they have a travel time? No. Granted, I think I have some coloration on that, so what if default energy color? Wrong thing. Oh well, there goes that energy pizza. On Lavos. Okay, it does look better with the default energy color. Not a lot better, but better. Adding in the energy color apparently really fucks this one up. What if I go an interesting mix? If I go for a orange to not that one, black. Not perfect, but near black. How does that look? So it works very well on the Ignis. Hey, those are nice. Those do have a good look to them. The gun still sounds like shit, but... And how about the charge? Wow, okay. Like just the firing of that. Look at that inferno I've got in the gun. Those energy colours, that's doing some work there for the gun. It's a shame the recoil blocks the view. Actually. Aha! Yeah, look at the colour of that beam as it fires. The trail, unfortunately, that it leaves behind is pretty pathetic. But in the moment of its firing, that does look good with those colour combos. Unfortunately, it's still the Mangonel. But yeah, this is all the difference that it makes with just the right color combo on it. Compared to, as I say, not that. Default. Yeah, this just looks weird now. This is like I've added the color to it and turned it into this weird, you know, sodium fire. You prefer making a green energy? Let's see. Can we make a good green on that? I would imagine using the secondary color as black could still work on that. Let's see. Let's get a nice, vibrant green. Bring it in then with a secondary black. See how that comes together for you. Again, not going for a full black on it, just so we still have some visible trail effects when the black lingers. Well, that is a little bit menacing. Alright. Yeah, there you go. That's doing it. We pop out of here real quick. Why am I suddenly getting a whole bunch of notifications on my phone? My phone shouldn't even send me notifications during a stream. I have it set up to mute. Why is it not muting? Wait. Sorry, suddenly a bunch of messages in the family group chat. I'm wondering, wait, is someone hurt or something? What's happening at this time of night? That suddenly needs a flurry of messages in the group chat. It's a weather report. Family group chats. Can't live with him, can't live without him. Is the weather at least lovely? There will be some parting in the clouds much later tonight, but this will be tricky to predict. Yeah. That doesn't sound particularly great, does it? Right, we came here to go... let's see... Where would be an appropriate one for... Got it. There it is. That's what I need. Wait. Oh, good. Yep. And then... Mate Jess is saying, came here from your YouTube quiz video D, Zach. Hey, welcome on in. Welcome on in. I can assure you there will be no Zach today, but you can enjoy the rest of the stream all the same, I'm sure. Game speed, bring it down to 10%. Oh yeah, that's going to be nice and slow. Okay, maybe a bit too slow, considering how long this takes to charge. That's going to be a 15-second charge, Ken. You didn't think this through, did you? There we go. And... there you go. You wanted that green beam? You wanted your Death Star? Lavos is that Death Star for you. There you go. Woo! The Mandanel may not be the best of the Archguns, not even close. But it's got that shot. Let's add a little bit of extra time to it. Oof. Oof. You can't just blow a hole in the surface of Lua? I mean, it looks like someone else beat me to it. If we're quite honest about this. I don't like that the particles are visible through me, but I suppose, you know, that's radiation. These X-rays are punching right through. You can see just the sheer energy of this. Yep. Ain't nothing safe from that one. Just give us a bit of a rotation. There you are. Oh. There we are. Did you miss looking at Larkspur? You did miss it, yes. Yeah, we looked at Larkspur Prime, got some good results out of it. Took some work to get us there, but yes. What, 20 rounds of Apollo without getting Relic does to someone? Yeah, that'd fit, wouldn't it? Cinematic pass around, through the particles, into the gun. Now 15 seconds to charge it for the next one. This is what it feels like waiting for the glaive beam to charge an FTL. The fact that the actual shot of the beam vanishes before the recoil comes down again, it's like you're missing out on so much of it. We want to see it, we have to fire from the wrong side of the character. Give it a moment. Give it a moment. Almost. There it is. Oops, I missed. Somewhere, millions of years from now, an alien is about to have a very, very bad day. Didn't do it. Dramatic opening of hand. But there we are. There goes a star. If that gun can blow up an entire star, the star did not deserve to live in the first place. Well, there we are. For those of you who'd like to see more of that kind of shot, I recommend you at least grab yourself any of the appropriate capture scenes and pop in for your own Tari. See what you'll get. But yeah, I've basically just launched a gamma ray burst into deep space there. Oops! Not the biggest war crime ever committed by anything the Orokin produced, so you know what? I think we're fine. But that does show the value of changing up the colours. And that little combo, that colour plus black combo for weapon energy, is one that I tried out for the Ignis. For the Ignis in particular, it does a lot of work on it. Right, if we pop ourselves... If we just pop into a capture again, actually. Let's just go appearance, capture... that one's always a nice one. It always looks good. Here we go. So let's get how the Ignis looks normally. Here we go. So this is default Ignis Wraith. This is what you get when you get the weapon out of your arsenal and you're like, oh, what's this weapon look like? What's it do? And, I mean, yeah, it'll do Ignis things, but, like, look at this. It's Cheeto dust. I've seen this come out of a over-transported bag of Doritos. That's not a weapon. That's not a flamethrower. It looks like it's designed to just season an entire restaurant all at once. No, this is a flamethrower. Look at the smoke and soot in that. The flames actually look like they've ignited. But because it's grenade technology, we're not, you know, cleanly burning it. That's the kind of flame you want to hit them with. That's a war crime right there. Versus, again, for those of you who may have already forgotten, Cheeto dust. Now, I'm no fashionista, okay? I am very far from what one would consider an artiste. But even I can see the value in fiddling a little bit on that dual energy color channel, which you unlock by applying a former, and going, oh yeah, let's add some motherfucking smoke and fire to this. Just that little change there. And you can fiddle with your visual settings as well to further enhance this. I think I've recently added on a lot more in terms of, that's it, particles and foggy bits and whatnot. Let's see, what would I want to bring down here? I think it might be a little bit of you, a little bit of you. I think just that might give what I'm looking for here. No, that's not really made a difference. There's some setting which makes it where the smoky effect is a little bit less present, and so you end up with just more of the flame. But I forget what settings I had that did that. So we just kind of get what we get on that. Yeah, no idea. No idea. It's somewhere in there, but maybe it's... No, it wouldn't be shadows. Again, like I say, this ain't my area. I just know those colors work. ITA saying blue white fire would look good as well. Potentially. Let's see if I can get that to work the way we want. So we have got already on here a kind of a subtle diminished teal or turquoise, and then straight into that cyan there. Yeah, so there is some default shading that's built in that might limit what you can get, but you can get that there if you want a more intense flame, but that's more of a cryo. I wonder if we can get this to feel just max temperature. So let's go with a blue like that, and then into a darker blue there. Will that get it? Closer, but it's not quite there. Thing is, for a flame like this, if you go for such a blue flame, I'd expect it to be more contained. A flame that ripples out like that and disperses into the air, you wouldn't expect to be a blue color like this. Well, let's see if I can get that further. Let's go with... no. Take that further still. How about into you? That might be a bit dark for this. I'm going to give it a try. Oh, that's gone too far the other way. Whoopsies, overshot. Completely overshot there. Alright, let's bring you up to... that? No. Secondary is also washing it out, isn't it? How about if I do the secondary as a light one instead? That's not bad. That's not bad. There we go. I don't know where this green's coming from. What the fuck? What? Are I'm blending it with yellow? What yellow? There shouldn't be any yellow in this. But yeah, you can get a blue flame on it. I don't think it really fits as well. It looks like we're just burning the wrong gases rather than getting a very hot flame. Because typically to get those kind of extra hot blue flames, you really need to be pumping them with a kind of a clean oxygen supply and really focusing the jet of it so you don't get that billowing flame as much. But in terms of just disgusting immolation, yeah. And that same approach, as we've seen on here, yep, it's equipped. Wrong thing. Works quite well. I just wish in terms of visuals here, I wish this lingering beam looked better. When you look at the kind of particles we can generate, you look at the energy. Okay, that flickering is horrible. But you look at the kind of energy this is producing, the shot, and then this is the linger. It doesn't stick for me. Oh yeah. Ignis's default effects based on whether it has innate heat is combined or not. Honestly, not aware of the deets on that. From Antares, hi all, can I ask a cringe question? I mean, it depends on the kind of cringe. Is it cringe because you think it's a really dumb question that everyone should know by now? Like, guys, what is cold damage? Might seem a bit cringe, but we can answer it. If it's cringe, like it's asking, why don't we permit slurs? Well, then that would be cringe in a different direction, wouldn't it? So yeah, is it the right kind of cringe? Doesn't take account of that one wisp augment. Oh god, yeah. Oh, why did you have to remind me of that? Now I've got a rant about it. Why did you do that to me? Why would you make me remember this? Let's see, did I leave it on any of these? I think I just gave up on it entirely, didn't I? I did, so let's just slap it on for a moment. It can replace the augers. It's easy to remember what to put back on. There are so many things wrong with that. So many things wrong with that. First of all, it embeds itself in the geometry for some reason. Despite the fact that it's supposed to be an entire star, it just embeds itself in the geometry. Second of all, what's with this tiled texture? Was it really that intensive to have an actual texture or put a little bit of randomization in the texture on this? Thirdly, what is this flamey effect coming out of it that doesn't even color match? And finally, this aura around it that looks like it's the surface of the thing, towards the end of the ability. Why does the aura vanish before the rest of the ability? Like, what are all of these artistic decisions? We've got this horrible tiling, both horizontally and vertically. We've got these flames which are weak source on something that embeds itself into geometry for reasons, rather than, placing it a small amount above and outside the geometry, and then it just takes away its shell. And it's not like the ability had ended then. There was a few seconds left on it still. If you ever feel bad about your art projects, remember, this is Warframe. All of the good that Warframe does, and it did that. Let's see, what we got here from Anthres. I'm just saying, it's not Warframe related, but today was my birthday. No one remembered. Where I live, the day is almost finished. And to be honest, it made me pretty sad. Can you guys just wish me a happy birthday? I think we can absolutely do that. Anthres, we don't need to know what your age is, because we don't ask those questions here. But I will say to you, regardless of what anyone else has had to say for you throughout the day, and I'm sure some of them have thought about it, it's just not been the right opportunity for them. But for you today, remember, you've at least got this. Happy birthday. And I hope you can find yourself some goodness, whether or not today, whether throughout the week, somewhere else within it. Enjoy your birthday. Make it your own. Happy birthday. And, I'm very sorry, the last bit of fashion you got to see here was a result of Wisp's 4th ability augment. All the same. What's your age? You can't remember? I find myself actually having to think about my age these days. It's the first time that it's really happened. Multiple times over, when the topic of my age comes up, I genuinely have to think about it for a moment. And then I'm remembering, go, oh, damn. Because I sure as shit don't look it. If he goes reach not message, ah, bollocks. You're probably right. Yeah, that does look more correct, doesn't it? There we go. You're a grown man, at least not a kid anymore. That's all we need to know. Old enough to be here, that's fine with me. Alright then. We've gone through a whole bunch of bits and pieces when it comes to the Archguns today. I am very thankful that Mirrorleaves decided to gift a sub over to Antares right there. There you are, Antares. You don't have to worry about even the ads on the channel for a whole month of your birthday. Look at that as well. And a little bit into the next month because of where we are, but you know what I mean. Really, thank you very much for that gifted sub. Much appreciated as ever. But yeah, we're not going to do any more streams on the Archguns, because as much as there are some that I haven't covered, for obvious reasons so far, yeah, there's Fluctus that we could have a look at, Corvus we could have a look at, there is Akuva Ayanga to have a look at, Borger and Cortege, Velocitus, there's still quite a few. Honestly, quite a few. But I don't think any more streams is particularly necessary on that. So instead, we can just simply do a giveaway. We can do a good old 75 plat giveaway. Let's get one of those loaded up, shall we? That needs to load up correctly. Oh, okay. Come back. There we go. 175 plat giveaway. Let's kill the background music. Let's get rid of my face. And let's open up a draw. If you'd like yourself a chance to win 75 plat gifted by DE, then exclamation mark enter for a chance to win that. Exclamation mark enter and slide yourself in on screen here with this lovely updated and a nice and refined approach. There'll be no more lag, no more crash on this one. This is new to you, Esprit? This is how it works. This is how it works. Exclamation mark enter for a chance to win 75 plat. You'll see your character slide on screen as when the bot recognises you are here to join us. And a reminder, this 75 plat, this comes from DE themselves. They graciously offer the channel 2 lots of 75 plat to give away every single week, and so we do them every Wednesday and Sunday. Today is indeed a Wednesday. Your stream was like 5 minutes behind? Oh wow, Ductile. That does happen, doesn't it? That does happen. We got the firing squad on them. Oh god, yeah, in the top right there. Umbrella, Happy Honeymoon, Jester, and a bunch of others joining in on just sending you forwards. You're the leader of that particular squad. That's what it is, Captain. Was this the avatar thing from QTCC? Yes, Esprit. So you'll see a bunch of fashion frames here. Some of them are my fashion frames, and some of them are those that were submitted by others. So it'll be hard to really call out all of the different ones, but we do have a lot of different people's fashions in here. In particular, I can see in the middle there, LU standing out because they're not even holding a Fullman. If someone's not holding a Fullman, you can be certain it ain't one of mine. Azrael, don't ask for it to crash. What's wrong with you? Why would you do that? Glad that's not a command. Who's custom can't see it? Yeah, we'll see it when you get obliterated. Yeah. It's fine. Alright then, let's do the draw in just a moment time here, shall we? Let's do the draw in, let's just count it down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Quickly from Dark Wolf, how do I change it to my custom one? If it's your custom one, exclamation mark, pick frame, default. Default sets it back to the default Lavos, unless you have your own custom submission, in which case it sets it back to your one. The reason I did it that way, we'll just do the draw now, is it means even if you're not subscribed, you can always set it to your own, and if you made it private, default only works for you, no one else can get yours that way. But here we go, the people with their wonderful, wonderful fashions trying to take down the boss. The boss doesn't care what you look like, it's still going to obliterate you anyway. It's still going to obliterate you anyway, which brings us to our final winner. Our winner here is Van Bobbington. First of all, love the username.
Excellent
Second of all,
Lieutenant.
congratulations, Van
Construction point is
Bobbington.
up
You
ahead.
are the winner of that 75 plat. The bot does say there, we do need to have your details. So, Van Bobbington, exclamation mark, IGN in the chat, please, with your Warframe username and platform, and we'll know exactly where to send that plat for you. That'll be delivered by DE in about, within 2 weeks. I think we've just had a round of them go, so it'll be just under 2 weeks to the next round of those going out. So yeah, Van Bobbington, !IGN please, and your Warframe username and platform. If I don't have those details, well, simply can't send it to you, can we? It should be pretty logical, really. There we go, we got those on there, lovely, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I think that's for a question here as well. From Lil Rascal Roscoe, how do we submit one in terms of a fashion? So all of mine were obviously mine, I just put them in there. In terms of other people's, they are added as part of this year's Quest to Conquer Cancer. So for anyone who donated $25 or more to QTCC through this channel, they were given the opportunity to add theirs in with that. But yeah, I have now closed all of that lot because QTCC has wrapped up. I won't say that there's no way to get yours added in at this point in time, but I'm not exactly promoting any particular way to get it in, so who knows. Maybe ask Mirrorlab if they have any suggestions on how to get me to do something. But for now, let's just re-up that. Great Kit Goomba saying, pretty sure my avatar is closer to a void echo of the whole fast with how well you get blasted. Oh dear. I'll be honest, it's the one with the red cape that really stands out to me. Every single time it's in there, that red cape just sails across the screen. You can't miss it. In terms of a fashion to pick, that one is chef's kiss, beautiful choice. You really can't miss it every single time. Hello there, Foxer. I'm very sorry to say you've got impeccable timing, along with Elu here gifting a sub over to Snake Raider. Thank you very much, Elu. That brings you up to 100 gifted subs. Elu, you've hit triple digits. Would you look at that there? Triple digits. Mon ami. Alright. Lovely train today? Yeah. We have got that train attempting to tick through. It's got 40 odd seconds left on it before that one wraps up, and then we will be raiding on out of here today. Moon saying we could put that as redeem akin to redeeming VIP with spanners. I'll be honest, Moon, not something I am particularly focused on because it is not a small amount of effort to add in a new batch of fashions. Because we've actually got to get the fashion photographed. I've then got to cut it safely out of that whilst maintaining the fashion, any color correction that's necessary for any bits that have either been washed out, translucency that goes wrong, cut it down into a sprite, load up the game editor, pop the sprite in, connect up with the name of the username, actually export the whole new program, reinstall it with the new details, because it's basically an upgrade of the program, and then put all the details up onto the avatar page on the website as well. It's not a small amount of work to add a new one in. So yeah, it's not something I will be adding to the spanners for now. And Little Rascal Roscoe, thank you very much for gifting a sub. First ever gift even on the channel here, over to Pyros37. Much appreciated, Roscoe. Oh. Yes, indeed, on that. Paying for the gift they got from Mantis. Ah, I love that Twitch says that. I love that. You got a gift from Mantis and now you're paying it forward. That is beautiful, actually. That is really beautiful. Awesome. Alright then, but that now is where we are going to wrap it up. I'm going to say, sorry, I thought of how often someone redeems VIP. It would be a while between people redeeming it. The thing with VIP is VIP has more value to those who want to use the diamond, but adding in a whole fashion frame to the program is a lot more than /VIP. It is a chunk more. And that at the same time would probably get more people holding back their spanners trying to use it. The VIP is intended more as an outlet, as is the postcard, for those who don't want to use the lower down bits. Anyway, it's time for us to pop on over. Let's see, who can we raid on into today? Just pop us on a cheeky little intermissions. Let's have a look. Who can we raid on into today? I'm just having a look at the Warframe category. Is that a clover? There is a clover. Thank you, Ackerboy. There is a clover live. Oh, that is always beautiful. Let's head on over to your lucky clover because, well, I think we need some more cringe in our lives. We are desperately short on cringe at the moment, so let's go get some more and head on over to your lucky clover, the queen of cringe, the chaotic one herself. And she absolutely adores every single one of those titles, you know it. Or if you haven't been there before, you're about to find out. You didn't get the rap tap tap? Oh, right, it's because I've got audio muted for radio on out. Sorry. Let's hit the replay on that. Audio is muted when I'm checking out stream, so as not to have anything inappropriate come through. Rap, tap, tap. There you go. Yeah, sorry, it takes away the surprise factor, doesn't it? Anyway, raid message, it's always the snack raids. We have a raid emote. That's what we do here. But we're going to raid on over. That's all from me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.